The front was collapsing, and mass graves were opening almost at the same time. Raw earth hung in the air. Soldiers and civilians had already seen what the SS left behind: death, fear, and suffering. Trust vanished fast. Ordinary prisoner rules broke here. Many no longer saw captured SS men as prisoners they could safely guard, after what nearby graves had shown. In many places, they shot them at once to stop any further harm.
Years of SS terror against civilians across Europe came due within days. After Germany collapsed, many hunted down captured SS men, denied them prisoner status, and shot them on the spot. Under the left arm, Allied screeners looked for a mark no borrowed tunic could hide. On 8th of May 1945, many SS men knew their position was hopeless. They feared trial. They feared execution. So thousands tried to disappear inside the mass of defeated German soldiers. Some ripped off SS collar tabs. Others traded uniforms with captured Wehrmacht prisoners. Many burned identity papers and scratched their photographs, hoping no paper would prove who they were. It did not work. The Allies had prepared names, photographs, fingerprints, and reports long before the surrender. One mark ended the disguise. Wartime doctors had used the blood group tattoo to read blood type fast. After surrender, Allied teams used that same mark to spot former SS men. In Flensburg, Hamburg, and Bremen, they checked every captured soldier. Men with the tattoo went to interrogation, and some admitted their roles, while others kept lying. Burned papers and ruined photographs no longer saved them after that check.
The search did not always end with names and questions. Sometimes a guard had a pistol in his boot or a knife hidden on his body, and a routine search broke into gunfire. Some still tried to run. In Prague, during the uprising in May of 1945, SS detachments kept trying to hold parts of the city even after Germany surrendered. Czechs who caught them often knew what SS violence had already taken from their own families. That pattern widened fast. Soviet troops in Poland caught camp guards fleeing from Gross Rosen, and some of those men still fought arrest or tried to destroy evidence on the spot. Others vanished into refugee columns. Near Salzburg and Innsbruck, SS men mixed with civilians, but American and French units pulled them out and treated them as dangerous prisoners. In the Netherlands, resistance fighters seized men tied to deportations from Amsterdam and Rotterdam, where many families had already lost parents, siblings, and children. Many died within hours after capture, and similar arrests and quick executions followed in Belgium, France, Denmark, Norway, and across the Balkans.
That pattern hardened in Yugoslavia. Josip Broz Tito's partisans had fought the SS for years. At Kragujevac, Kraljevo, and near Jasenovac, families had watched neighbors die and villages vanish. In May and June 1945, while partisans cleared the last German pockets, records list hundreds of SS men executed near Maribor and Ljubljana. Across the border, escape failed for the same reason. Too many people still remembered faces. Poland had lived under ghettos, labor camps, and extermination camps, with Majdanek and Auschwitz still close in memory. In refugee crowds, survivors spotted SS guards who had shaved their heads, taken new names, and pulled on civilian coats. It was not enough. Soviet troops took many into custody, and after quick identification, they shot several in Katowice, Gliwice, and Auschwitz. Beyond Germany, flight only grew more dangerous. In Czechoslovakia, the anger was fresh. Prague, Brno, and Ostrava had suffered reprisals in the war's final months, so local resistance began its own searches, set roadblocks, checked papers, and questioned suspicious men. Papers came first. Men stopped at barriers. Those checks caught thousands of fleeing SS men. Then came the unit name. When inspectors read SS Police Regiment or Durlawanger Brigade in the papers, the chance of an official court vanished, and many never reached one. The safer the southern escape looked, the faster it closed. Many SS men moved into Bavaria and Austria, toward rural country of lakes, forests, and mountains. Some pushed deeper into the Alps and aimed for small farming villages. Others hid inside refugee columns on the roads. American and French patrols searched those routes day and night. Many were caught within days. The surrender was already in force, yet charges still went into the ground near Oldenburg and Wilhelmshaven in May 1945. That mattered. Some SS men refused the end and joined Wehrwolf cells, which Nazi leaders had set up in the last stage of the war for fighting after capitulation. Many were young, personally loyal, and still believed Germany could rise again if they kept hitting Allied troops. These groups were most active in May, June, and July. They stayed small. A typical cell had 10 to 20 men, and it aimed at sabotage and surprise attacks more than open battle. Near Oldenburg and Wilhelmshaven, both in northwestern Germany, teams tried to destroy bridges and slow Allied movement. They also planted explosives beside roads, rail tracks, and power stations to break transport and communications. The front was over. The attacks were not. Farther south, forests near Linz hit a group that ambushed American trucks carrying food and fuel. Linz stood on the Danube on a route supplies still used. Near Karlovy Vary, in western Czechoslovakia, another cell put roadblocks across the road, fired on Soviet patrols from the hills, and then slipped away. The numbers were small. The warning was not. Once patrols caught these SS fighters, many Allied units stopped treating them as surrendered soldiers and started treating them as men still carrying the war into the summer. For Allied patrols, such SS men no longer counted as prisoners. They counted as an active threat. Berlin had shown it already. In April 1945, as the capital collapsed, SS units formed the defense around Hitler's bunker, built barricades, and fired from rooftops. They ignored surrender calls. SS patrols shot Berliners for talk of defeat. That same refusal appeared earlier in Hungary. From December 1944 to February 1945, Karl Pfeffer Wildenbruch led SS units through Budapest street by street, and the fighting wrecked much of the city. Then supplies and ammunition ran out. The remaining German and SS troops still tried to break through Soviet lines under fire. More than 100,000 soldiers and residents died in less than 3 months. Budapest was not unique by then. By early 1945, the pattern was already clear on the Eastern Front. At the Oder before Berlin and in Pomerania, Totenkopf and Viking, the 3rd and 5th SS Panzer Divisions, still fought. Some positions held until full encirclement. Outnumbered and with no chance to win, they kept firing. The pattern outlived the battlefield. On October 1, 1946, Nuremberg fixed the charge. In Mittelbau-Dora, investigators entered deep tunnels where the SS forced prisoners to build rockets. More than 10,000 laborers died there from exhaustion, starvation, or tunnel collapses. Ravensbrück added more. Investigators found rooms for experiments on women. At Hartheim Castle, they found gas chambers and cremation ovens from the T4 program that killed disabled people. These places lined up. The International Military Tribunal in Nuremberg declared the SS a criminal organization. Ernst Kaltenbrunner stood among the leaders whose role prosecutors proved.
That verdict came later. Near Dachau, on 29 April 1945, American soldiers of the 45th Infantry Division reached rail cars filled with dead prisoners. The stench hit first. Starvation and beatings had killed them. As the soldiers moved deeper into the camp, SS guards tried to blend in with others or run. The silence broke into gunfire. American soldiers shot several on the spot.
Months before Dachau, the break had already come in Normandy. In June 1944, Canadian troops learned that the Hitler Youth SS Division had killed their own prisoners. The news moved fast through the ranks, and some units stopped taking SS men alive. At Abbaye d'Ardennes, at least 18 Canadians were killed. That refusal started earlier. On the Eastern Front, Soviet soldiers saw whole districts and villages destroyed long before the war ended. Katyn was one of them. In Belarus, the SS Derlewanger Brigade destroyed it in 1943. killed the residents, and burned their homes. They remembered every step. By the final months, after marching through towns and cities with mass graves and seeing millions of murdered civilians, many Red Army units made clear that SS fighters would not be spared. That warning soon reached the Western Front. The Ardennes Offensive opened on 16 December 1944, and SS units tried to break Allied lines with sudden attacks. On 17 December, Joachim Peiper's group captured American soldiers near Malmedy and marched them onto a snowy field. The men had already surrendered when SS troops opened fire. After that, Allied units understood that surrender to SS forces could end in death. On that field, SS men killed 84 American prisoners.
That fear did not stop at the snowfield. In the Apennines around Marzabotto, SS troops killed more than 770 civilians in 1 week. In 1943 and 1944, German forces were losing ground in Italy, and the 16th SS Panzergrenadier Division, under Walter Raeder, carried the retreat into the villages. From September 29th to October 5th, day after day, SS units moved from house to house, accused locals of helping partisans, and shot whole families. Women were there, children too. Elderly people died with them. By October 5th, SS units had passed through the houses around Marzabotto and left dead families behind. Months before the Ardennes, the same method had already appeared in France. On June 10, 1944, the 2nd SS Panzer Division, Das Reich, entered Oradour-sur-Glane in Haute-Vienne in west-central France. Men went one way, women and children another. SS troops shot the men at several points, then locked the women and children inside the church and set it on fire. 643 people died that day. The ruins stayed. France kept them as a memorial. That trail did not end in one village. Behind the SS units in Belgium, Italy, and France stood 4 commandants. Their camps ran on daily decisions. Rudolf Haas, Karl Otto Koch, Max Pauli, and Hans Loritz. Haas ran Auschwitz in occupied Poland, where gas chambers and crematoria worked every day. Koch kept Buchenwald, near Weimar, on hunger and beatings, while Pauli drove Neuengamme through labor that wore prisoners down until they died. Loritz forced Sachsenhausen through long marches, hard labor, and punishment on the roll call square. Same routine. The names changed and the camp gates changed, but the duties stayed familiar. Count, select, punish, send, and replace. Majdanek joined gas chambers, shootings, and hunger in one place, and Treblinka under Irmfried Eberl killed more than 700,000 people in 1942 alone.
Sobibor, Helmno, and Belzec followed the same purpose, while Mauthausen and Stutthof added at least 90,000 and about 65,000 more dead through labor, disease, shootings, and marches. The method could shift from gas to starvation or from beatings to forced marches, but each step still passed through officers and guards who carried it out every day. Auschwitz alone took more than 1,100,000 lives. Those daily routines needed fixed ground. By 1945, more than 44,000 camps, subcamps, and holding sites stretched across Europe. The line began at Dachau in 1933, a camp for political prisoners and the first permanent Nazi camp. Dachau stood near Munich. Once the SS took full control of the police and security forces, they expanded that network fast. By 1938, Sachsenhausen and Buchenwald already held thousands under constant violence. Early camps trained SS officers in guard duty, punishment, and control. Later, those same men ran larger camps in wartime. As the German army moved forward, the SS opened new camps, ghettos, and labor sites behind it. In Krakow and Lublin, people were packed into ghettos with little food. Labor camps rose beside factories, mines, and quarries. Barracks were no longer required. In France, SS men and the Gestapo arrested resistance members and civilians together. In Paris, raids in 1942 dragged thousands from their apartments. Doors opened at night. Lyon repeated it, with Klaus Barbie and SS men interrogating anyone tied to the underground. In Denmark and the Netherlands, night operations took whole families. By sunrise, houses stood empty. The method had spread. Then Italy switched sides. After September 1943, SS units marked Italian civilians as enemies. In Rome, at the Ardeatine Caves in March 1944, they killed 335 civilians within a few hours as punishment for an attack on German troops. At Sant'Anna di Stazzema, SS units destroyed an entire village. After the raids, the paperwork remained. One group rounded people up, another formed the firing line, another counted the bodies. These shootings were not random. SS officers planned orders in advance, put them in writing, and checked them afterward. Outside Minsk, victims stood beside trenches in the forest. In Odessa, SS men joined reprisals after attacks on German troops. In Lithuania, SS units and local collaborators destroyed whole neighborhoods within hours.
That procedure had room to spread, much more room. In 1941, Germany invaded the Soviet Union, and shootings in small yards and open fields spread far beyond single sites. Franz Stahleker's Einsatzgruppe A crossed the Baltic states from Kaunas to Riga, not at the front. Otto Rasch's Einsatzgruppe C killed across Ukraine, Zhytomyr, Poltava, Dnipropetrovsk. Arthur Nieba's Einsatzgruppe B shot across Belarus, Grodno, Vitebsk, Mogilev. Months, not years. By early 1942, Einsatzgruppe A alone had killed more than 249,000 civilians. With the other groups, the toll reached several hundred thousand.
That count had an earlier template. On the 1st of September 1939, while most people expected tanks and infantry, SS units entered Poland with separate orders for special actions. Einsatzgruppe 4 under Joseph Albert Meisinger followed the army into Warsaw and Radom, carrying lists of people marked for immediate execution. The same method reached Poznan, Piotrków, and Kielce. In 3 weeks, these units killed more than 20,000 civilians, not in battle. The shootings ran behind the front, in small courtyards and open fields. That work started earlier, in the classrooms at Bad Tolz and Braunschweig. There, a pause before an order counted as weakness. Recruits drilled for hours, then marched for long stretches. Young men heard the same lesson again and again. In the Wehrmacht, a recruit learned tactics, shooting, and survival. SS cadets learned something else: remove doubt, keep loyalty to Hitler, and bury sympathy. Himmler treated pity as an obstacle. That set the SS apart from the regular army. Cadets rehearsed entering houses, clearing villages, and forcing civilians to kneel. Soon, Himmler gave that separation a command. In 1929, he took over the SS and tore up its old rules. A guard ring was not enough. He drove in strict discipline, racial lessons, and personal loyalty to Hitler. The aim reached further. Himmler wanted a force that could remake Germany from within and stand above other Germans. The old guard vanished. He fed its cult of superiority and cleanliness, and by 1933, the SS had passed 52,000 men. That force began much smaller. It grew out of a Germany already breaking in the early 1920s. People stood in long bread lines while prices jumped almost every day, and families sold chairs and tables to buy food. Veterans came home from the First World War to no work. Younger men grew up with defeat and humiliation. The Nazi Party turned that anger toward enemies and a strong leader. So when a guard unit formed around Hitler in 1925, it was only a few men. Emil Maurice, Julius Schreck, and a small handful stood closer to drivers and bodyguards than soldiers.